Yo, what's good everybody? It's Haze with Household Records. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys a tutorial on how I make melodic piano beats for Killval from scratch. So before we get started, I just want everybody to go check out this loop kit that Household just dropped. It's 100 loops. It's made by me, Wavy, Aiden Han, JK, Lucid, Ross Gasage, Ty Cook, and Yizo, and I'm telling you guys, it's the best purchase you'll ever make. It's only 30 bucks. It's a guarantee. You're gonna make hits with this, so check that out. This is the first tutorial that I've made, so let me know down in the comments if there's anything I can improve on or change up for next time, because I want to make this a regular thing. I want to make tutorials. I want to give you guys some sauce. And finally, go follow me on Instagram at prod_haze so you don't miss out on any new content I post. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into the cook-up. Okay, so the first thing I do when I'm making melodic beats is I set the BPM to around 170. I work anywhere from like 160 to 185. I don't know. But I'm going to go with 170 for this video. And I get rid of the FL default drums because they're terrible. And I'm going to open up an instance of Omnisphere for the keyscape function of it. And if you don't have Omnisphere or keyscape, there's a lot of free plugins that can have some good pianos in it. Like Keyzone Classic is what I used before I had this, and that can really do good for you. So the first thing I do when I'm building a melody, because I know like 90% of you are here for the melody sauce, is I always start with a bass line, start with chords. So I want to cook in F minor right now. And I know music theory, I'm not going to lie to you, music theory helps you a lot as a producer. Like, everybody who says you don't need music theory is right, you don't need it, but it will help you a lot, and I heavily encourage you to learn the basics. I'm starting F minor. I'm going to go down to C minor. To C sharp. Alright, so here's our bass line. Alright, and now you can make chords off of these. So my trick is I go up, I go 8 semitones like that. And then you put one in the middle if you want it to be a minor chord sounding sad like this. Or a major chord like this, but I want minor because I want it to sound sad. And then take the middle note, put it up an octave, so you get a chord like this. And I always build my chords like that at the beginning. So now you turn that bass line into a chord progression. So that sounds pretty good to me. I like that. Now I'm going to build a melody out of it. And I'm going to be kind of quiet for this part because I need to get in my zone. So what I'm doing right now, I'll just stop for a second, is I'm kind of splitting up the chords, so instead of just playing straight chords, it's got a little bounce to it, it's got a little rhythm. And I'm putting a little top melody. A thing that you want in melody is you want it to be catchy and you want repetition. You want repetition so it just stays in your ear. I don't really know, but it sounds good. So I'm having this little riff where it goes da 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 da. I'm having it repeat. so this sounds pretty decent to me. And I'm just going to copy these bass notes down an octave. So that looks pretty good to me. The next thing I do is I have 4 bars right here. I'm just going to copy it over using Command B, and that'll put it over for the next 4 bars. And what I do to the next 4 bars is I have the same thing play, but I add a little bit of variation. So I usually make it less complicated over here and then more complicated over here. So let's see how this will sound. Okay, I like that. So then the last thing I do when I'm making melodies in VST is everything's going to sound super robotic because you're not actually playing it on a piano. So you got to humanize it a little bit. I do that first with Alt-R, take the velocity, take it off of bipolar, and turn it down a little bit. That'll change the velocities so they're a little bit randomized. And Alt-S, which is a little bit of strumming, which will just make it sound like you're actually playing it. So here's the difference in that. Alright, so that's hard. So I put that in the mixer on track 1, channel routing, right here. I turn it down a little bit. I level all my stuff as I go, and I'll show you my mixing process as the video goes on. But that's it for the melody. I'm going to go back in later and add counter melodies and stuff like that, but we're going to put some drums on now and build off of this bass melody. So all these sounds I'm going to use are coming from my own drum kit, which is, I'll put a link in the description to that, but you can cop it. It's only $10 and it has all the sounds I use in every beat I make. You can hear how this is burning up my CPU right now to record while using Omnisphere, so I'm going to render this out to an audio file. Can mute that so 2 pianos don't play, but then you play this. I'm just going to put this into a sampler so it keeps the MIDI pattern, but it's not using up CPU. And then I'm going to put pattern 1 on this mixer track so that it's actually running through here instead of the Omnisphere. I'll just rename this to piano. Do hi-hats right now. Shift D I always do to make them all one thing long. And I put it on 1/2 step because that gives me the most control over my rolls. So I usually just do 4 bars like that and then copy and paste it over. Alright, so I'm going to do 808s now. And before I do that, I'm going to go into the mixer put an EQ on this piano and take out a lot of the low end. And none of you guys have seen that in every tutorial ever, but it's so the low end of the melody, especially on an instrument like a piano that has a lot of dynamic range, doesn't clash with the 808 bass sound. So getting your 808s in key, I know it can be tough for a lot of producers, but it's really easy when you make your own melody because you can just take the root notes of the chords that you make in your melody and you can make that the 808 pattern. Use this 808. I always do this with my 808s. I say cut itself. I go in, turn everything down except the hold all the way up, and that's so you have control of whether you play it. Like it lets go when you let go. Like that. So I'm just make a quick 808 pattern. And if you're having trouble hearing it, you can hearing if it's in key, you can move it up a couple octaves. So you hear that was out of key. That's the correct note. So then you press Command L to make all the notes connect. Bring that back down 2 octaves so it's in the regular place. And then Command B to copy that over, and then you add a little variation to it. Put a little mini roll here. So I think that sounds pretty solid for an 808 pattern. And before I do anything else, I'm just going to put these into a mixer. So I leave a couple spaces for my counter melodies. I'm going to route this, say route selecting from this track. And then I literally just mix by leveling. Oh, and always fruity soft clip around the master. Don't mess with the settings at all, just leave it default. Put a kick in. This is my favorite kick from my kit, it's so hard. I copy the 808 pattern over, Shift D to make everything short, Alt K to bring everything to C, and Command A and turn up all the velocities. I usually don't have the kicks hitting on every single 808 note, just to give it a little bounce so it's not so like robotic. Put in some snares. I feel like this beat fits better with a rim than a snare. Alright, I like that. I think that bounces well. Put in some open hats. I like to put a lot of open hats in my beats. I think they add a lot of really good bounce to it. I could add more perks, but you want to leave room for an artist on the beat, and I feel like the melody goes crazy, so I'm gonna just keep the drums semi-simple. Route these to the mixer, and this is how I mix basically. And you can see how the kick is like really clipping here. I do that on purpose. I use a sample that has a really like loud kick sample noise. I don't know. But with the soft clipper on the master, it just makes everything hit really hard. And if you want good samples like that, go cop my drum kit. So this is pretty much mixed and not laid out, but the drums are pretty much done. So I'm gonna put on a counter melody or two and see how I like it from there. So my go-to plugin for counter melodies is Electra X. I think it has really fire presets and like ARPs and stuff. And a good reason to keep, even if you render out the audio, to keep this MIDI of the melody I made is because you can copy and paste it over to an Electra or anything that you're using for counter melodies. I think that sounds really good, so I'm gonna keep that. That's fire. And then one other thing I will do is I might add some gross beat on the piano. And if you don't have gross beat, I bought gross beat, it's $100. But what you can do is you can put the presets on and then you can record it to audio from there and then take it off, and that doesn't require you to buy it. It's a pretty easy bypass for that. So I'm going to put that on, and as I arrange the beat, I'm going to automate that to come in and out. And what I'll do is I split my melody out like this. So I have the main melody play the whole way through, and I'll have counter melodies coming in and out and drums coming in and out. Then I'll have the Electra X coming in, usually, because you want variation. The big thing when you're arranging beats is you want variation and you want to switch things up so it doesn't get boring. You don't want to listen to the same 8 bars repeated throughout the whole beat. So you just want to switch stuff up. So this looks pretty decently arranged to me. I'm going to just add some gross beat automation. So I want this in the intro and then I want to fade out. So I'll have it going like this. And now I'm going to put in some transitions and my tag, obviously. All of these risers and stuff are included in my kit. That's the beat. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some support and leave me anything in the comments. This is my first tutorial, so there's definitely a lot to be worked on. But thank you guys. I appreciate it if you've watched to the end. Peace.
Haze got the fucking sauce.